Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Business, and I'm showing off some old footage from New Year's Eve. Actually, that's when I recorded this. This is GD Skits, and he's in a Myoko, and it's on Land of Fire. I'm just going to spoil this for you now. It ends the same way as you're seeing here, him shooting at this same Nagato. We're about 3.5 minutes into the match, so I just skipped ahead and pay attention to his team, where they are, and the fact that he's up here already engaged and against the enemy battleships, and that his team's going to take a little while to get into this fight. So the Myoko is a really fun ship to drive. Like, in my opinion, I still think it's the most fun in terms of something that's not a destroyer. Destroyers are quick, nimble, and all that stuff, but it's really a very svelte ship, and it feels really good to play it. And I really enjoy putting the speed flag on it, for instance, and just running around like hell in it. But there is an enemy Colorado over here. He kind of has a problem that any cruiser captain's going to face this, where he's pretty much the only real target for this Colorado, so he's got to figure out something and get the hell out of here. And unfortunately, he's still sitting broadside to him. Not exactly the best way to handle protecting your cruiser, but things go from okay to bad to worse really quick, and they stay that way for quite a while in terms of his health. He manages to finish off the destroyer there, help out his teammate that's on B, and starts capping, of course. So the attention from the Colorado is now squarely upon him as well, so he sends off another salvo of HE, and I'm hoping at this point he's going to get the hell out of Dodge, because you don't want to mess around in the cruiser against battleships. You just want to try to do your damage, get out of there, let one of the big boys get in, as far as battleships are concerned, and take some of that damage for you, so you can kind of spread that out over your team and keep everybody in the fight for longer. But no, he's not having any of that shit. He's going right for it, and I gotta applaud him for his testicular fortitude. However, it's a risky proposition to do this. And not only that, he's I gotta tell you, I was cringing watching this the first part of this video, just like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, there's no way this is gonna be a good replay. And actually, I do remember I did not look at the screenshots of this before I watched the replay, so it was a total surprise to me. And he takes a little bit of damage, and he was really lucky that wasn't worse. But he's already down, a decent amount of health pretty early into the match. He's certainly done some damage, and he's been whittling down this Colorado pretty well. But the fact of the matter is, it only takes 1-2 hits for this game to be over for him. So he starts the turn, dumps his torps, and it's time to engage somebody else. And he's definitely overextended. He's about 2 minutes into being overextended, actually. There is an enemy Nuremberg over here. He's already switched to AP, and I'm going to see some beaching action there. So maybe that guy's been watching my stream. I'm not entirely sure. But remember the Nuremberg review that I put up last video? Well, check this out. And I'm sorry about this, by the way. I did have a bit of a screw up with the camera here, but Double Citadel turns into Penta Citadel, so a hell of a lot of damage against that Nuremberg. And he just lost one of his torpedo tubes, as you just heard. So boom, there we go. What the hell happened there? He just killed the Colorado with those torps that he launched. So he doesn't even react to anything that's happening here. I mean, this is all, again, his camera movements and how he's playing. So I found it pretty funny that it was like one of those cool guys don't look at explosions type of thing, where he's he's dumped his torps, or he's dumped his shots out, and he's already engaged somebody else. He doesn't even care. It doesn't matter. It's pretty cool. But he already earns a high caliber not even 8 minutes into the match, and actually, more to the point, not even 4 minutes into his first shots being fired as a cruiser. So that's, in my opinion, pretty damn impressive. And there goes the Nuremberg, and he's engaging the New York here. Now, the interesting part with this, as he catches on fire again, and he's down to about 5% of his total health, which is, I mean, this is a precarious situation, all right? It's almost like he's doing the work of the rest of his team on this side of the map, and it's hard to, you know, considering the results so far, it's hard to argue otherwise. You know, sometimes there are just replays that I've watched where you can clearly see somebody pretty much putting an entire team upon their shoulders and just kicking ass. And don't get me wrong, this is something I've tried to clue people in on and stuff. The simple fact that the ship is somewhere prevents enemy ships from doing something else. So by virtue of those ships being there, that is the only reason he's alive currently, basically, because otherwise they would be shooting at him, you know. But he does finish off the New York, and now he's gonna move up and cap A over here, or actually C, I'm sorry. And I suppose that should show how often I actually play on this half of the map. You know, that's kind of the interesting as far as the replays are concerned. You know, I'm so used to being in certain areas because of being divisioned or, you know, in the battleship more frequently, that a lot of times I forget what, you know, one side of the map actually looks like. And Hotspot is an excellent example of that. If I start on the, like, what is it, the 8 line, the 7-8 line, I almost have no idea what to do anymore. Like, I'm so used to being on the 2 to 4 line, and that's the same thing with this map. I'm used to battling it out for A on the 2 to 4 line and trying to dodge torps and not get my ass citadeled over and over again. And, you know, sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't, but it's pretty interesting. Now, forgive me if this sounds like a public service announcement, but if you pay attention to those 2 battleships that are on the 9 line there behind him, and, you know, one of these battleships, and I'm pretty sure it's the guy that's just north of him, north of the C cap here, who ends up at B in the moment. Basically, these guys are dumb, and I'm not saying that in a malicious way or anything like that, but you're so far away from everything else happening on the map. I mean, you can't be that ignorant and that focused on something else. I guess maybe they think it's a sailboat simulator or some shit, but it just amazes me that they've willingly taken themselves out of the game to such a degree that they'll never be able to be a factor in it. And just pay attention by the end of the match where they end up. I'm not even joking, it's amazing. So you'll see the beautifully flat trajectory of the Myoko here as he earns a Confederate with that salvo hitting the destroyer. And yeah, that's pretty good. I love watching the Myoko shoot. It's always nice. I mean, not that salvo, that's pretty bad. That's more like something I would do, but you know, the Kami Samurai actually picked up the Hipper, the Admiral Hipper, the tier 8 German cruiser, the other day, and he's been enjoying the hell out of it. And I'm only just getting familiar with it because I'm gonna free XP past the York. I'm not even joking. That thing makes the Karlsruhe look like, you know, it's solid for its tier. It's so bad, but the Hipper has just remarkably good AP. Like, really impressive. And I've seen some replays of the Rune and the Hindenburg. It's pretty much, it gets even better from there. But the Hipper, the trajectory of the AP shells, it kind of got me thinking, like, when I started watching this again, that the HE salvo that you see here is really flat, and then the AP salvo will be really flat as well. You know, there's not really much in the way of a disadvantage that the Myoko has in terms of that shell trajectory. It's a very beneficial, very forgiving shell trajectory, and that's why I think the Myoko is so lethal against enemy cruisers and especially destroyers. I mean, it's a very flat, very fast velocity, and you know, they're damn dangerous ships, and you're gonna see just how dangerous here in a moment as he's lining up and figuring out that he's pretty much dead. That Nagato that he started opening up on at the start of this video, yeah, he's there, and he's got about 45,000 health. He also has a little friend with him too, somebody who's in a similar situation as Skits here in his Myoko, and he'll come around, get spotted again because his concealment is still flared up. He sets the Nagato on fire again. Of course, he uses his repair, but there's an enemy Königsberg, and I think he, at this point, was just like, you know what, screw it, I'm dumping my torps because this salvo is going to kill me. Luckily, it was just off. So his salvo against the Nagato went way off. Looks like the Nagato cut speed and pulled off to his port side. The Königsberg hit him for just a little bit of damage, but he hardly has any health anyway, so a little bit is unfortunately a lot. He's down to about 900 health, and check this out. I thought it was over, but wow. He's down to 351 health and gets the 6th kill. So the Königsberg is out, and you know, this was one of the few replays I've watched where I didn't actually look at the screenshots that were provided, and I just jumped right into it, and I had no idea what was going to happen in this, and so the fact that he didn't die there, I'm like, well, what the hell happens from here? Well, this Nagato, I'm not entirely sure. Like, you know, I'm guessing he's got to be pretty new. You know, things are somewhat evident that he doesn't really know what to do in the situation, and I'll say what I was saying about the advantages of the Myoko's shell trajectory and velocity. Well, that's nothing compared to the situation that this Nagato's in. My god. Alright, so the hardest thing, in my opinion, to do in the game is to hit a damn Myoko that is at some distance away, that is running away, and, you know, it is only showing the slimmest of profiles, and he is just laying into you at range with that HE. And you know, in this situation it's even worse because the Nagato's not even focusing on him anymore. He's already taken his guns off of Skits' Myoko here, and he's focusing on the battleship that's at B, instead of what he really should have done was turn around and go on the backside of this island to get away and shield himself from these guns. And it's a simple mistake, it really is. I probably would have done exactly the same thing here 5 times out of 10, but this Nagato's team is in the lead. He gave up his advantage, and that's the part that, you know, looking at the bigger picture, sometimes those small little details get missed, and it ends up costing his team the game because of that. And it's literally as simple as turning around, and it would have been a different outcome. It would have taken more time for given more time for his team to be able to continue to bleed those points, and the enemy cruiser and destroyer, I don't know their exact location, so I'm not operating with all the information here, but it seems to me the best course of action would have been to turn around and not go south on the 6th line there, but instead the 4 line, the 4 or 5 line in that area. So he earns Witherer, which is a minimum of 60,000 fire and flooding damage combined. So that's pretty damn good. So that means that his damage total that you see up there in the top left is a lot. So now things kind of turn around here, and the Nagato's coming after him. So this isn't going to be fun. And Skits is pretty much having none of this. He's like, you know what, I'm going to set your ass on fire, and I'm going to provide you the slimmest of profiles here. So shots out from the Nagato, his forward turrets, and so close. But he's got a lot of fires raging on him, and the problem is Skits is getting really close to the blue line, and this is basically a war of attrition right now. So between time running out in the match, time running out on both of these guys, there's a lot happening here. And The Nagado's bringing all of his guns to bear on Skits to try to finish him off, as he should, because I can only imagine how annoyed this guy must have been. But, ooh, another salvo so close. And Skits can't start a fire, so he's waiting on that reload. He just hits the blue line, as you can tell from the camera shifting and all that, but the Nagado did just fire. You can see his shells coming in. Skits lines him up, takes the shot, dies in the process, and I gotta say, it's really no surprise to me at this point that this is how it ends. Fantastic. Well, that is without a doubt the best Myoko match I've seen. So 211,000 damage. He has 2 arsonists, just a flesh wound, high caliber, Kraken, Confederate. He has Witherer as well, 3,300 base XP, 7 kills. Holy shit. Just really impressive stuff, man. Way to go. And so again, I will be streaming today. I'm not entirely sure about Warships. I may jump in a few matches here and there, but Kami Samurai will definitely be streaming Warships at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll be on before that and possibly during it as well. But if you see GD Skits out there, give them a high five, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you here next time, alright? Take care.